Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Good to see you back. In this video, we learn the steps to configure security events in Microsoft Sentinel. So how the security events are going to help us is it's going to take all the security events from the Azure virtual machine and it will send all the security events to Microsoft Sentinel. There's a prerequisite to configure security events in Microsoft Sentinel, which is to deploy either the Azure monitoring agent on top of the Azure virtual machine, or we need to deploy the Microsoft monitoring agent on top of Azure virtual machine. So to do the same, let's create a virtual machine and then we're gonna install Microsoft monitoring agent on top of our Azure virtual machine, and then we're gonna configure security events in Microsoft Sentinel so that it will start capturing all the security events from our Azure virtual machine. So without further ado, let's start. Now let's create a virtual machine in Azure. I'll select virtual machine. I'll click on create, click on Azure virtual machine. We'll select the existing resource group that we have. We'll give the name to the virtual machine as VM01. We'll leave this machine in the Australia East region. Availability zone will select no. For OS, we'll select Windows Server 2022. We'll give the username and password. For inbound ports, we'll allow 3389 and port 80. Click on next. 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 And then click on review and create. Click on create to create the virtual machine. So as we can see that our virtual machine is created. So click on go to resources. So let's go back to Log Analytics workspace. We are back to Log Analytics workspace. So click on Log Analytics workspace that we have created. We'll hide this. Scroll down on the left hand side. We'll see an option of workspace data sources. And here we will see an option of virtual machines. So now the virtual machine that we have created, we need to connect this virtual machine with the Log Analytics workspace. Unless we connect this with the VM, we will not be able to see any of the logs from VM to Log Analytics workspace. And before that, I wanted to show you one more thing. If you go back to our virtual machine and go to install applications, we'll type app wiz.cpl, hit enter. So this is where we can see all the installed applications. So as we can see that we have installed IIS. That's the reason we can see that the ASP.NET and other components are installed. And we also have Microsoft Edge. Log Analytics Workspace agent is known as Microsoft Monitoring Agent, which we don't see. So once we install that agent will send all the logs and events from the virtual machine to Log Analytics Workspace. So let's go back to Log Analytics Workspace. Now, as we are back to Log Analytics Workspace, so we need to connect the virtual machine with the Log Analytics Workspace. For that,
click on virtual machine, click on connect. It will take few minutes. The moment we click on connect in the background, it goes and install the Microsoft monitoring agent on the virtual machine. So we'll give it few minutes and then we'll go back to our virtual machine to check whether the Microsoft monitoring agent is installed or not. So I'll pause the video and we'll be back once the installation is completed. Okay, so the agent is deployed. Uh, we just got the message successfully connected VM. So now let's close this one. And out here, we can see that our virtual machine is connected with Log Analytics workspace. After that, what we need to do is we'll scroll up, we'll go to the agent management. Out here, we are not able to see the Windows machine on which the agent is deployed. So let's go to the virtual machine to confirm if the agent has been deployed or not. So here we are on our virtual machine. Let's refresh. Okay, so now we can see that the Microsoft monitoring agent is successfully installed on this virtual machine. Let's go back to Log Analytics workspace. We'll give it a few minutes. Okay, so we are back after a few minutes. Let's refresh the console and see if the VM reported to Log Analytics workspace. Okay, so now we can see that the VM started reporting to Log Analytics workspace, right? Now, the next step is let's click on see them in the logs. When we click on logs, it will show us the heartbeat with the server. So here we can see a result. We can see the public IP address of virtual machine and we can see the VM name. So this confirms that the virtual machine is reporting in Log Analytics workspace and the connectivity is established without any issues. Let's close this. We don't need to save the query, so we'll discard that. We'll capture security events from the Azure virtual machine. To do the same, let's go to Azure Sentinel, which is known as Microsoft Sentinel now. So let's go to Microsoft Sentinel. Click on the Sentinel. Let's hide this. On the left-hand side, scroll down to Configuration. Under Configuration, click on Data Connector. One thing which we need to ensure is that we do have the Log Analytics agent or Azure monitoring agent deployed on the virtual machine, which we have already done. Now let's search for security event. Here we can see two options which are relevant to us. These are the two options. The first one talks about the security events via legacy agent. So Log Analytics workspace is the legacy agent now, which is going to retire somewhere in 2024. Azure monitoring agent is the new agent which is replacing Log Analytics workspace. We're gonna talk about the Azure monitoring agent in the future videos, but as of now, let's select the option of legacy agent, then click on open connector page. Scroll down and click on all events. So depending on your requirement, you can click on minimal or you can click on common or you can go for all events. Make sure that you select the options as per your requirement because the moment you select all events, it's gonna capture so much of data. End of the day, you need to pay for the log analytics workspace because it is capturing all the data and saving the data in the log analytics workspace. So more the data, more you need to pay. But for this lab purpose, we'll go with all events. Then we'll click on apply changes. Okay, so the changes are done. Now let's close this. Okay, out here we can see that now the connected agents or the connected data connectors is showing us 2. Now let's wait for a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, what I can do, I will try to log into Azure virtual machine that I have created by typing in wrong credentials. Now to initiate some of the false login events, let's go to the virtual machine that we have created. Let me take the public IP address of this virtual machine. Out here, this is the public IP address. So let me copy this and let me try to log in to the virtual machine by using the fake credentials. Okay, so here I'm trying to log in to the virtual machine by using the public IP address. Let me just type in any random password. Okay, it failed. Let me try a couple of times. Now let's wait for a couple of minutes and then we'll go back to Microsoft Sentinel. Let's select the Sentinel. Let's click on logs. The event log that is created by using the failed login attempt is the event ID 4625. So let's try run that and see if we can see some of the results or not. As of now, we don't see any result. So let's give it a few minutes and we'll be back after a few minutes. Okay, so we have waited for a couple of minutes. Now let's run the query again to see if it logs the logon failure errors or not. So when we run this query, okay, so now we can see that all those logon failure attempts with the event ID 4625 is logged. So any user who is trying to log in to this server and if they're typing the wrong credentials, the event ID gets created with the event ID number 4625. So that's how you can capture all the events in your environment. I hope you like this video and you have learned something from this video. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Bye friends, keep smiling, have fun.